Hello and welcome to the Machona podcast once again. My name is Machona and I've got a guest today, a good friend of mine. Her name is Natasha Cholwe. She's a DJ and also just a great person as well. So she's here to talk to me about relationships, and we decided to talk about finances and relationships. So, yeah, Natasha, please introduce yourself.
Okay, so I am Natasha Cholwe. I am radio presenter.
Wait,
TV
what are those
presenter.
pots falling in the background?
Oh my God, no, it's just people doing their own thing in the background. You don't want to know what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, go on.
I am really excited about the topic. So I really just want to jump into it. Please, as a man, explain to me what is the role, because as a woman, it's a bit different. You know what I mean? Because you have people come to you and they tell you, no, I don't want to marry or I don't want to date a lazy man. I rather he has ABCD, he needs to have money, he needs to either have a car, he doesn't have a car, he needs to have a house. You know, so where is the man in all of this?
Okay. You've mentioned like somebody saying they don't want to marry a lazy man and the likes. So which means we're going to start with the dating phase as well. Now, from what I've noticed is a lot of people, quite all right, I do understand that the man has to be the major provider in the home.
Provider.
Exactly. Yeah. But the thing that I've seen is most of like the ladies in our society want you to start providing. From when you're just dating, you already become the provider. Now, traditionally, the provider was in a home, the father in the home is the provider to the wife, but you guys want us to start providing before we even get you into the home.
Isn't it now what is called like campaigning? Like, it's not like you're going to win. You're showing me what you're going to do before we get there. How am I going to know your potential? What if you're like, talk and no act? I mean, you marry me and then you find that, we're suffering together. Like, no, baby, this is love.
Yeah, but when you talk about, the campaigning, then aren't you seeing, like what he's building? Because from my understanding, the guy before he marries is building a home, which if you are in a relationship,
no.
Then you are going.
Sorry to cut you short.
Yeah.
The man never builds the home. That's the woman. The man. That's why you can find a man who has everything and still. You have like a house, a car, and then you enter his house, the only thing you find is like a plasma TV and a speaker and a couch and a small plate, cooking 3 plates. You know what I mean?
So in short, you're saying if a man starts to build the home by himself, he usually spends the money on useless items?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm guilty of that. But anyways... So, okay. So my point was going to be, obviously when you are in a serious relationship where you're even considering marriage and the like, then obviously you would start, talking then about, like what kind of a home you would be expecting. And from then on, the guy also has the ideas of what you are expecting to find in the particular home. And obviously, if you are both serious, then you'll be spending money where it's mostly needed. Now, the other thing is, okay, quite all right, he's going to be the provider. So now, does that mean before he brings you to his home, he already has to start pimping you, for lack of a better term? He now has to take over your bills. He has to take over your upkeep as well. Is that correct?
It's not true. It's, you know what I have seen from experience, right? Is half the things a man does in a relationship, a woman never asks for it.
Okay.
Even the
woman is the one
the woman
complain if the man is not doing it.
Huh?
The woman goes to complain if he's not doing it.
Doesn't do it. This is what, because this is how most men start. Okay. In the campaigning phase, before they start dating you, they will do the most. They will do everything.
Yes.
Like they will see your nails are not done. They will do your nails. They'll do your hair. They'll do what? And then the moment they get you, then they stop. And then they complain that the woman is complaining. But that's what they started with. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
it's like you introduced me to a certain lifestyle, and then you take it from me, and then you claim I'm the one who wanted it, but it's you who gave me this lifestyle. So sometimes it's the men's blame, because it looks like this is a box that you want, so I'm going to give you this box, and the moment I show you what's in the box, I'll take it away from you.
Yeah, but you know, the other thing also is, should I say, ladies are expecting a man who is going to come bearing gifts.
Okay.
If you don't come with those gifts, then they are not going to accept you. So it's
the same thing with let me try it. It's the same thing with sex. Man expects a woman in a relationship to have sex with him. It's like, it's my right. It's my right. So because of that, the woman has now taken upon herself, like, it's my right for you to give me stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like a 50-50. It's like a give and take. It's like, if I give you sex, you're going to give me this. If I do this, you're going to do this. The give and take. That's why you find that proper... Yes, that's why I find proper relationships half the time. You see them argue about money, but you never really see it in public, because they handle it as a couple. It's like, okay, babe, we're going to buy this today. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. In the future, we're going to build ABCD. People who always talk about, he didn't buy me this, he didn't do me this, he didn't do me that, that never goes anywhere, because you're not building together. It's just a give and take. You know what I mean? It's not really like, there's no proper foundation.
Yeah, and that's what I want to talk about as well. You know, where you have to build together, because from what I believe is, if you get married, for instance, I don't know, in Zambia you don't have the thing where you just live together and it's still legal, but here if you live with someone, then you probably have to marry them. So if you marry that person, you are living with them. From my belief is, the only way that things work well is if you divide up your earnings, if both of you are working, where you make a plan and say, okay, you, Natasha, you're earning this much, and I am earning this much. And then if we have a joint account, we say, okay, in this joint account, we are going to put, maybe I'll be putting in 80% of my earnings, and you are going to put in maybe 60% of your earnings. And the money that we have in the joint account is what we use in the home for bills and whatever else that needs to be dealt with at home. The money that remains in your account is now what you're going to use for your upkeep, for whatever that you want to do. And then the little that I have as well, I will use for whatever I want to use it on. For me, I think that's the only way that things would work well, because I've had conversations with people who have said, no, the money that the man is earning is what you use around the house, and then what the woman earns, a woman has a lot of needs, so which means that money remains with the woman.
It's for her needs.
Yeah. So I find that to be a bit retrogressive, because what that happens is it means the man's earnings have now been divided all the way. Like he literally has nothing left, and there's nothing. There's no saving in the house, because the lady also, because that's her money, so she's going to spend it, and maybe spends the whole of it as well. So you find that sorry, go on.
Okay, I understand what she's saying, but yes, let's have a joint account, let's sit down, let's talk about this. Sorry to say, that's like a fairy tale. That's a fairy tale. I feel like marriage is a whole different ball game. Even dating sometimes, like if you live together, it's a whole different ball game, because once you live with someone, once you're around someone for too long, reasoning goes out the window. You easily get irritated. You easily just want to slap them. So even when talking about finances, like for example, if it was an issue when you were dating and then you come together, it's like, okay, oh, you lie to yourselves. Yes, we're going to divide this. Yes, you're going to put in this much. The moment there's a fight, you're all going to now try to say, I have this money, I have that money, I don't need you, what. So I totally understand the women who say like, no, he's the one supposed to take care of the house. It's based on mindsets, how you were raised. There's a certain women who were raised in a house where by housewives, house mothers, you know what I mean? Where the mother never did anything but cook and clean, and the father was so proud. That's my wife, I made her. Look where we are today. What? You know what I mean? So that mindset is now with them. It's like the man is supposed to provide. So you can't really judge them to say like, oh my God, my money is, because it's that's how they were raised. So if you want to change that, you need to change someone's mindset to say it's okay for you to buy your man something. It's okay for you to buy maybe a couch in the house or like something in the kitchen, or like to buy groceries for that month and tell no, babe, I got this. You know? Doesn't mean that you're degrading yourself or like you're doing too much. You know what I mean? Because for a very long time, women have been said to be the weaker person. You know what I mean? So women always try to boost themselves to say, I am better than a man, or I can do what a man does by spending my own money. I mean, he came for me. I'm his blessing. He should take care of me. He should see that I'm happy. It's never a 50-50. So,
but you know what?
It's okay. Let's talk.
As much as I agree with you on that one, I still think if there's that kind of thinking, then that's a whole different scenario altogether. That's because that's a communication issue. Because if whenever we have a fight, I'm going to say, I should even get my money, then that means my thinking is wrong. But if there's something that's set in stone and it's the rule of the house that this is how we use our money, then I don't think ever, maybe when you're getting a divorce, that's when you can say, okay, let's divide up our monies. But as long as you're still in that house, and if you have the best interest of the house, you are not going to start thinking about dividing your money just because you had a fight. I don't think that should. You know,
as simple as that sounds, it's exactly what happens. You know, because you're upset, your mind is not at the right point. It's like it's not feel like I'm going to take my money. It's more of I can survive without you. I don't need to.
But that's wrong, though. That's wrong.
You don't need to do this. So that's where finances now get divided. You see what I mean? Because you find that maybe I'm not saying that all men cheat, but there are those men that do cheat. You find that he says, okay, never bring the pay slip at home. The wife doesn't know how much he makes, right? But everything gets done at home. And then he takes maybe, say, 30-40% to his girlfriend. And he brings the other at home, right? And yes, you're fine. Everything is happy. So, but you, the wife knows that he's cheating. To get back at him, she'll use the money. You see what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So, finances, it plays a role. It's like, okay, since you're doing this, I'm going to look pretty with your money. I'm going to use my money for me. I don't care about you. And the moment they have an argument, you'll be like, I can get my money and I can go. I don't need you. You see that?
Yeah. But
there are moments where you get up.
If we are going to talk about a situation where the marriage is going fine, there's no cheating, there's no abuse in the marriage, how then would you make that household, save up enough money to maybe buy a property of your own? Because I believe that's the one of the main things that a newly married couple should be looking at, saving enough to buy a property, invest maybe somewhere in a business or whatever, because obviously you're planning to have children as well. So for you to be able to make that happen, you need to save. But then how much are you going to save from my salary? How much are we going to save from your salary? Salary. Yeah, exactly. So that's where now that comes in. Are we going to save 50% from your salary and 50% or 20% from my salary? So those are the agreements that you now have to make, because once those agreements have been made, then nobody's going to come back and say, you're getting too much from mine. And then you're getting... because in most cases, as a man in most cases, you can find that maybe you earn more than I do, but because of the culture that we are in, I as a man will say, I'll put in 80%, you will put in 60%. Which means
sometimes it's even the man, sometimes it's the man who's a problem, that, because
what we're saying is we are in an ideal home. We are talking about an ideal home.
In an ideal home, yes, in an ideal home where everything is perfect, the man wants to be the provider. He wants to have, I'm a provider. My wife.
That's why he's putting. That's why he's.
You see, so he's putting input to him to be the provider. But sometimes the man is the one who puts the mindset into the woman.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you're planning for the future and you're looking at your kids, you take your pride out of the equation, right? Because because what you're looking at is the numbers. You're looking at the numbers.
Yes, you're looking at the numbers. You're looking at the numbers. This is why everyone is like, respect a man. The man wants to be respected. To show that he can do everything. He wants to show that he got it. Like, look at me. Like his wife comes out with a Brazilian hair, I did that. We're saving up for the house. Because even when he's boasting to his friends, he doesn't say, me and my wife bought the plot.
Yeah, he says, I bought the plot. Yeah. But you know what? It's also a cultural thing, I believe, because like you look at the other races when they are talking about, like, say, as Africans, I'll generalize it. They usually say we waste a lot of money on trying to please our communities, because you look at, like, I get a job, I'm earning maybe say 5,000 kwacha a month. That's my take home. I am now, because I've got a family at home, but I am going to try and get a loan. I get that loan and I buy a car, which maybe I might not even need. but right there and then we are still renting, right? My kids are going to school, and we are not saving anything, because now the loan that I've gotten for that car, the money that I'll be using to pay back the loan is the money that we probably would have been saving to build a house of our own. But now it's going to the car, and then the car also needs servicing, and the car also needs fueling, right? But to the outside world, everybody will be, they'll be like, oh, he's bought that new car. And that to me will be, next thing now, because I have a beautiful car, I'm going to need new threads. I'm going to need new clothes, so that I look the part, right? And when I start to look the part, because now I have my wife now who needs to look like she is my wife, because of the standard that I'm going to set for myself. So now I have to start spending more on her as well, so that when I'm with her, everybody will be like, oh yeah, there goes that couple, like they are doing very well, right? But it's only us pleasing the outsiders, and whilst in our own home, we would be struggling. But if you look at, flip the coin, other people, what they're doing is they are concentrating more on, like saving and investing. They are not really going to think about showing off. They would buy just maybe, if there's the necessity of buying a car, they will buy something that they can easily be able to service. That's something simple. And it's good enough. Meanwhile, they have a lot of money left to save and use on other things that will benefit them more than, like what people would be looking at. So I think that's the other cultural issue that we struggle with, because a lot of homes, a lot of homes have, like maybe the parents have retired and they did not save anything. So now they start they start to depend on their children, because all their money was spent on, hand to mouth, as you would call it. So it's something I believe that we would need to step away from, and like just embrace the whole culture of saving, and also communicating, so that both people in the relationship know what's going on.
I think at the end of the day, it just comes down to mindset. If you can change people's mindset. Because you can talk about it, give them the pros and cons about it, and they'll still go back to doing the same thing, because it's what they know.
I know.
People usually go back to what they've seen before, because they're more comfortable with it. So it's just changing people's mindset to say, yes, the man can provide, but you as a woman can put in some of the funds. But again, you also find there are relationships or marriages where the woman was so desperate to get married, so desperate to have a relationship, that she's the one that's doing everything in the relationship. She pays the bills, pays the electricity, food, just to keep the relationship going. So it's just all mindset, regardless of whether you're young, old,
I do agree.
Just have to change your mindset.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. And I think the mindset of having one person look after the household was working well in like the older generations, because life was as maybe quote unquote much easier then, or much simpler then. But nowadays the economies have just gone to the gutter, and everything is just hard now. It's just everything is just expensive now. So you can't really handle the whole situation by yourself, and that's where you need to come in as a team and work together. And once you do manage to do that, then great things can happen. Because I've been like even when I was looking at a house to rent, I was looking at my salary, and then I'm looking at the amount that is being quoted, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, that's manageable if there's like the two of us, because then that wouldn't matter much, because you just divide it up, and that would be easily paid off, and then you have a lot more money left. And rather than like you going to get a house that takes up maybe half of your salary, because if you're going to have a family, then with the current situation, most of the houses are going to take up probably 60% of one person's salary. and so if you're now going to say, okay, I'm going to take up the whole responsibility because I am a man, then it will create problems. You start eating veggies from 1 to 30. So
you become vegetarian.
And not by choice either.
No, but it's yes, we can talk about it, but there's certain people who take so much pride in it that you can't talk them out of it. Like, for example, I had a conversation with a friend a few days ago who sits me down and says, I got the "you're old" speech.
Yeah.
You're old now. It's way back when, it's our parents got married when they were young, so they were allowed to find a man who hadn't started, who wasn't working, who didn't have enough money. But you were old. You can't say, I'm going to start with a man financially, because by the time he's going to have enough money, you guys will probably be in your 40s. I'm like, okay. So it's a mindset. There's some people who are so strong on it to say he needs to be the provider. He needs, when I sneeze, I want to do ABCD. He's just going to cough up the money and then he's going to do it. It's not, because even if the woman says, I make so much money, she'll still demand to be like, oh, he will do that for me. I don't have to do it because he's lucky to have me. So it's all about mindset.
It is definitely about mindsets, and so from what I've heard you say, so your friend was telling you that at your age now, you can't be looking to start a life with someone. You have to find someone who's already set up.
Who's already set up, because by the time you people are going to make it big, you'll be too old to spend the money. Because now you start to have to look at kids. How are you going to take the kids to school? How are you going to buy diapers? I'm like, okay. But
that's an interesting viewpoint, though. That's it.
I know, and I'm like, and I said, so where does the love come in? And then now she quotes scripture. Where in the Bible does it say
you're supposed to love someone?
A woman is supposed to be in love?
Right.
The Bible says a woman is supposed to submit. Where does it say she's supposed to love? Point at it. I was like, the man is supposed to love, not the woman. I'm like, okay. I'm learning. Okay. And it's like, so you just need to find somebody who's taking. I was like, I was learning. It's like, okay, supposed to be stable. Okay.
It is interesting though, and it actually makes sense now that you've mentioned it, because I look at like most of the posts that you would see on Facebook in those groups, like where somebody posts something to do with maybe a guy buying something for his girlfriend or whoever. And you would see the amount of comments, especially from the female side, or even just maybe the particular post is not even talking about anything to do with money. It's just maybe some people just enjoying them.
But it's always comes up.
It always turns to be about money now with the ladies who are posting. I've always wondered. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, but why does everything about a man have to do with money? That's why people end up with somebody that they don't even, like you say, a woman is not supposed to love. So they end up with someone just because he has money. They, even if they don't love him, and then when that money is no longer there, then there's no reason for them to stay with him. So now you end up, having problems and, calling him now stingy or whatever. He's got penguin hands. And, so it's interesting.
No, there are people who do. There are people who have penguin hands.
Yeah, definitely.
That actually happens. There are people who do have penguin hands. Where you two can go out, a woman can take you a fine restaurant, and then when the man's turn to take you out, you just take it to maybe ShopRite or whatever, and you know what I mean, buy you something
But
cheap.
wait a minute. How many times do girlfriends take guys out nowadays? Because in my experience, what I've experienced is somebody tells you, you know what, let's go out on such and such a day. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Because for me, the person is coming up with the idea. So I'm thinking to myself, oh, she's taking me out. And then we go out, we go there. Person is not ordering. They're just sitting there. Which means now it's me to get up and make the order. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, so suppose I didn't carry any money thinking somebody was taking me out, what would have happened? So most coming up with the idea quite all right, but when it comes to actually paying on that one,
it's a person that you're with. It's a person that you're with.
I know, but
it's the person that you're with.
It's
communication. It all comes down to communication. Like for example, we can literally say we're going to such and such a place. Now what's gonna happen? So you just have to bring your behind. Let's go. I will sort out the bill. And then there are moments where like, take me out.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's a communication. If you guys went out once,
take me out, then you understand from the beginning.
But it's communication. Like if you did it once, like you took them out, right? So automatically in their mind, they'll be like, you're going to pay again. So even if you're like, oh, let's go out, in her mind, she's like, you're paying again because you paid last time.
But it's not supposed to be like that, though. It's in short, what we are saying is most of these issues come up because of poor communication.
Yes, because half the time people don't know what they want, so they just want, oh, I want the luxury. I want to show to my friends that he can provide. I want to show to my friends that he can buy this. We went out.
Take photos
we did
of the food, post it some on Instagram.
Yes. Yeah.
Flossing.
So it's just communication. It's there's nothing wrong with flossing.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong, but yeah.
How's the world going to know we age? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, it's an interesting topic, really, and we've I think we've got half an hour. So thank you very much, Natasha. We'll definitely call upon you once again. We'll find something more challenging for you because I could hear you getting heated up at the beginning. So probably I've got ideas on what we might ask you to talk about so that we get the full picture of the things that are troubling your mind.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you very much, and thank you to the listeners as well. We'll see you on the other side. Have a great week, and remember to keep safe, keep your family safe as well. Thank you.